everyone, Daim Shabazz with Chess Drum here, and I'm going to do a video segment commemorating Black History Month. It is February 25th, so that means we have 3 more days left for the month. And I haven't done one of these videos in quite some time. The last time I did a video segment for the Chess Drum, it was 2012, where I did a series of 5, and they were called The Drum Beat, and where I would cover the latest news of the chess drum. I would cover international news, the latest events that were happening around the world for chess. I covered social media, Facebook, Twitter, and then the popular press. Any breaking stories, I would give kind of a brief overview. And then to end the segment, I would go over a game that could be between 2 grandmasters or between 2 amateurs. So I thought it was a very interesting segment, and if you ever want to look at these videos, they would be under the Just Chess Drum Beat video segment, and so you can take a look at those, and they would definitely be a throwback because that's 6 years ago. But nevertheless, here we are. This is 2018. We just ushered in the new year, and the chess drum just celebrated its 17th anniversary. It's been a long time, 17 years. I won't say it has gone by fast because I can account for all the years, and that's the thing about having a marker. And if you go to the chess drum, you'll see I have these markers for each year. The stories that have been indexed, and that gives me an idea of how that time is being sent. I'm marking time in history, so that's a good thing. But it's been a very interesting 17 years. And I have personally seen a lot of things evolve in chess. I've seen players from a very young age blossom into very strong players. I've seen events unfold. I've seen new websites, blogs, and social media pages blossom and to be very vibrant in terms of its activity in making contributions to chess. And so I would like to think that the chess drum has been one of those vehicles for dispersing information about chess and putting chess in a very different light. One of the objectives of the chess drum is to promote, not only and highlight the accomplishments of players of African descent, but also to show the universality of chess. Chess would be much better off if we showed that it is an accessible activity for different types of people, different nationalities, different ethnicities, different income classes, different levels of education. We tend to believe that chess is a game of smart people. We would like to believe that. But it is a game that is very accessible and all different demographics. And I think that's something that we should celebrate and something that we should champion. And that's what I would like to do today in recounting some of the things that we have done in our own history during this Black History Month. One of the things that I was doing last year, I spent a lot of time promoting this book, XXX Glam, The Life and Games of Emory Tate, Chess Warrior. And the book came out in March. It is a hardback book. It also has a dust jacket. This book doesn't have a dust jacket because this is the book that I can beat up and not have to worry about damaging it. In fact, it's already damaged. This is one of the one book that was actually a misprint. It was the binding was not done correctly. So this is the book that I can kind of tote around and not worry about it being damaged. But this was released in March with great fanfare. And I got a lot of support and a lot of positive feedback about the book. And I really appreciate the support on this project, and I believe it was a befitting honor of Emory Tate. In this being Black History Month, we can certainly say that he was a very important figure in the history of black chess, and it was my honor that I brought this to the chess world so that we can immortalize this very great talent. And he is dearly missed. I mean, we miss him at tournaments. We miss his voice. We miss his energy. We miss his passion for chess. And he was one of those who we used to get a lot of energy from. And he certainly was dedicated and loyal to chess, even in the last days of his life. And he died, as you know, at a chess tournament. As you know, he died while playing in a chess tournament, and it was a very tragic ending. But of course, as they say, if he died in the saddle, he died doing what he loved to do. By the way, for the Triple X Glam, I have maybe 20 more copies of the hardback, and I will have some paperback books coming in the next couple of weeks, and you'll see those advertised in various places. The price point will be lower. Of course, some of you have stated that the $40 price tag for hardback might have been a little bit higher than what you're able to afford, but this paperback book will be a nice version of Triple X Glam with a nice cover, and the paper is not going to be quite as thick, but I think you'll be pleased with the product. So, Black History. I want to just give you an idea of some of the things that we have done for Black History Month for the Chess Drum. So generally, every year, I will do an article commemorating Black history. And over the past years, I've done various types of articles. I have even hosted a Black History quiz years ago. It's been more than 10 years, but I used to hold a Black History quiz. I think I did it for 3 years, and it was a contest. I would provide the questions, and I would give a certain amount of time, and then at the end, I would see who was the first person to get them all right, and I would give them a prize. It was just something that I wanted to do to kind of create some excitement and to enlighten people on the history of chess, to make it kind of interactive. I have done many different types of articles, and 3 years ago I did a series of articles called the Drum Majors of Chess, and I'll just give you an idea of what I'm talking about. It was a series of articles divided in eras of time. So this was the 19th century. I covered pioneers of the 19th century. I actually went back further than the 19th century. Here you see a depiction of the game Senet, which was a game played in ancient Egypt. And it was more of a chase game than it was a game of strategy. There was strategy involved, but it was more of a chase game where you were racing against other players. And here you have another game. I'm not sure what game this is. It doesn't look like chess. It looks like it might be droughts, because the pieces look like they're on alternating squares, and so I'm not really sure. That may be another version of chess. But these are the Moors, as you can see, in Algeria playing chess. And then I go into some of the figures. James McCune Smith, Theophilus Thompson, we know composed a book of chess problems, and then William Griffin, also of the 19th century. And then there you have the Moors of Spain. So I also did the 20th century, which included the blossoming of chess, which featured Rogelio Ortega of Cuba, who was a Cuban national champion. And then I featured some of the players who came in the 50s, such as Walter Harris, Frank Street, and here you have Kenneth Clayton, who was the fourth black player to earn the National Master title behind Harris, Street, and Leroy Jackson, who was a teenage sensation back in the 60s. Then I had an article that was given a kind of a projection as to what black chess can be. And I made a bold prediction of 100 black GMs by the year 2100. That is quite a bold projection, and certainly it will take quite a bit of effort and ambition is a word I can use. In fact, I was talking to Maurice a couple of weeks ago. We were actually exchanging messages on Messenger, and he says next year will be the 20th year since I've made the Grandmaster title, and it's a shame that no one has come and achieved that feat. Now, we were talking about, obviously, in America, and certainly that's true, and that should cause a discussion of why it is that we have not seen someone else to break through. There are lots of reasons. We do have promising talent that's on the scene, and they're featured here in this article. You may remember the Wilbur Page Memorial Tournament, which featured 10 of the top players of African descent at that time, and that tournament was held in 2001 in Harlem. It's a very important event and featured some very interesting personalities. Two of the players have since passed away, but certainly this was an epic tournament, and one that we will always look to as an example of excellence. I actually wrote a booklet on that tournament, and that booklet was one way that this tournament was documented. The games are also available as well. There you see Josh Colas, some of the Jamaican talent coming up. So that was 2015 that I did that, those series of articles, and it was one of my most, I guess you can say, it was a series of articles that I had a lot of pride in. There was one other project that I had immense pride in, and that is the Wall of Fame. And I don't know how many of you have seen this project. I actually worked on this for 2 days straight, 50 hours, nonstop, no sleep. So I'll just kind of scroll down. You can get an idea of what type of content that is on this Wall of Fame. These are just figures. Not all of the players here are highly rated or highly decorated. Most of them are noted for different reasons. But it was a project that I felt needed to be done. And so one afternoon I just decided to take on the project. And 50 hours later, I had this result. It goes without saying that this is a project that needs to be updated. And my plans are to honestly put it in written form so that we can have a permanent record of the history of black chess. And so that project is in the works, and I'm working on some ideas and an outline for the book and a format, whether it's going to be just a volume, one volume, or whether it's going to be a series of books. But that is something that I am contemplating, and I'm kind of laying out the foundation for creating those historic documents. So let me show you a few things, some of the latest stories of the chess drum. You may note that my activity has subsided Last year I was working on the Triple X Glam book, so I wasn't writing as many articles. This year I've gotten off to a relatively slow start, but I plan to pick up the pace later on. But here are some of the latest articles that I've done. This article I did posted yesterday of the National Championship of Jamaica. Damian Davey and Krishna Gray were declared the champions. And so let me just scroll through and show you what the latest news of the chess drum is. So here we have a new blog that is out of Malawi. There's a blog called Africa Chess, and they had their first edition. And this was, I believe it was launched, it might have been launched last month, if I'm not mistaken. But it was, I believe, a very, very welcome addition. As many of these communication media as we can get, the better it will be for documenting the accomplishments of black players around the world. I don't believe we can have too many of these articles and these types of vehicles that promote black chess. I think it's a good thing. Here you have a very interesting article I enjoyed doing of Tremel Anderson out of Los Angeles, California, whom I found out about watching a video on Facebook Live, and someone was filming Maurice Ashley playing Blitz in a Starbucks out there, and then someone started mentioning Trey. And so I was curious, and so I asked who this Trey was, and I ultimately came across videos and found out that his name was Tremel Anderson. And I was very impressed by the videos, which I have featured here. There's Maurice being shown who Tremel Anderson is. And then I featured some of his videos. That's Tremel there. Very articulate boy, very confident. He presents well. And he is about close to 2,000 strength in terms of USCF rating. So that's a very good level for a 12-year-old. Here I commemorated the 17th year of the chess drum, and I give some throwback photographs that I had taken over the years. People look a lot younger than they do now, as we're talking almost 20 years. And so you can take a look at that when you have time. Then you have my montage of photos featuring the Triple X Glam biography of Emory Tate. Here's an interesting story I did earlier in the month, where Hikaru Nakamura went to South Africa, and he was there on a visit. He was visiting the South African Junior Championship, and he also was involved in a number of other activities, including a SIMO, and I believe he did a press conference. But the most interesting part of his trip, maybe not the most interesting, but the most intriguing, was when he went to Joubert Park, and he played a series of blitz games with those blitz players, and it was just a very, very exciting scene. You can tell that the South Africans were excited. Hikaru was excited. The games were heavily contested, and to me it was a very good example of chess diplomacy. And I think more players, more top-level players should make an effort to engage in this type of outreach to places that do not often see a grandmaster. And I think you see the excitement, and it's not often that you'll find a grandmaster would visit these countries, because some of these countries do not have a very they don't have a well-developed chess scene, but this helps ignite the excitement that may lead to perhaps more organization, more funding, more sponsorship, and I think that is something that we all would support. So that was a very um, good event, a very good scene there for chess. I did an article on the Blitz match between Daniel X. Jones and Grandmaster Alejandro Ramirez. Took place at the Chicago Chess Club. That was a very interesting segment as well. As you know, Chicago Chess Club has been hosting these cage matches, and the Chicago Chess Blitzers, which is a subset of those who are part of the Chicago Chess Club, have been traveling and staging these matches with different cities, and that's been also a lot of excitement generated as a result. So these are some of the stories. Years ago I found a video of Bobby Fischer that I had never seen before, and no other site had posted this. And I found it in a Google document, and so I featured it here, showing Bobby Fischer in Iceland, even the day after he was released from prison in Japan. And it was a very intriguing video because here he's talking about chess, he's talking about Fischer Random, he's talking about music, he's talking about movies, he's talking about various topics in a way that you've never seen Fischer. And I think it's a very intriguing video. Steve Coding released Chess for Children, which I think is a very nice instructional book. I have a copy. I ordered it off of Amazon. Steve Coding has been doing this for decades, and one of our most dedicated masters. And he does very good with children, and I think if you're looking for an entertaining book, an interactive book, then this is a book that you want to get for your child. And I think it speaks volumes to the passion that Steve has of teaching chess and using it as a tool for developing certain faculties and certain discipline for children. There you see me with my copy. Pontus Carlson has been making his rounds in Africa, and he recently returned to Kenya and to do a series of classes there, and also participate in a SIMO and game night in Kenya. So it was a very successful event. Also gave a blindfold exhibition here. And here are the highlights of 2017. This is every year I do a segment where I highlight from the year of in review, and I also post all of the links of the articles that I've done in that past year. There you see me. This is after the closing ceremonies of the Rapid and Blitz Championship that was held in St. Louis. I'm interviewing Levon Aronian, and I've actually interviewed him 2 other times at Olympiad tournaments. Very, very down-to-earth individual. Always a pleasure to talk to, and just all around good individual. So that actually will do it for this segment. Yeah, we're over 20 minutes, but hopefully that wasn't too long. I just wanted to give you an overview. There is a lot of excitement about the Black Panther movie, and I will actually do an article reviewing the movie. Although I didn't see any overt chess themes, there might have been some subtle subplots, because you did have 2 forces battling. I don't want to spoil the movie for those of you who have not seen it, but it is quite a I would say the cinematography was very vivid and just spectacular. And I'll just show you some of the imagery in case you have not seen the trailers, but it is something to behold, and I would recommend that you go to the movie and support this project. This movie has already grossed 500 million US dollars, and it is on course to be one of the most successful box office movies in history. I have seen it once. I probably will see it again before I write this review. What does the chess drum have in store for 2018? It's a very interesting and fair question. Well, my initial thought is to have more of these videos as part of the drumbeat segment. As I mentioned earlier, back in 2012, I did 5 of them. It was kind of a test run just to see how I can maintain the consistency and also improve on the quality as well. And without any doubt, the labor intensity is very high when you produce these videos, especially news videos that have to be completely accurate. It's not like I'm just showing a game and I can put the moves up and just make comments, and certainly people will hold you accountable. But when you have a news and information site, it's a little bit different. And so I plan to have more of these videos. I don't know if they'll be monthly or what the interval will be, but I think that is where chess enthusiasts are consuming chess content, and I think that it's something that the chess drum will be within its abilities to offer. But be that as it may, I plan to begin to make plans to immortalize some of the information that has been compiled over the years in the form of perhaps several books, and ensure that this information is made available for generations to come. So hopefully you've enjoyed this video, and by all means make contributions in terms of content and stories, and I'll also take tips. If you have any tips of stories that may be suitable for the audience, by all means, and send me an email, or you can message me at Facebook, or you can send me a messenger via Twitter, and I'll be greatly appreciative of that. So that'll do it for today, and hopefully you've enjoyed this segment, and as I always say, keep the beat going. Thanks. Take care.